Okay, so the 10th mistake, guys, and this is really important, not being emotionally ready to make changes and not patient enough when changes are made. Guys, sleep training is the best thing ever, but at the same time, it could be really hard. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of the sleep training series that I mentioned in the video last week. If you are new here, welcome guys. My name is Leslie. I make videos all about motherhood and lifestyle. So if you have not yet, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the bell notification so you get notified whenever I post videos. I make videos twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays at 12 or 5 p.m. working on the time, setting up a set time, so stay tuned. Anyway, so for today's second part of the sleep training, the first one was all about how we slept train and we use the Ferber method. So if you're not familiar with that, check out that video. In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about why we hired a sleep consultant. Also, my top 10 mistakes that parents make when sleep training. Why we hired a sleep consultant. If you watched the first video, you noticed that I mentioned sleep consultant a few times. What is a sleep consultant? It's basically someone that you hire to help you train your baby to sleep. So yes, you can do it on your own. There's a ton of books that can help you do this. There's also free resources online, on Pinterest, everywhere. But for us, we really felt a lot more comfortable hiring a sleep consultant just because honestly, there's so many methods to sleep training, and I felt overwhelmed as a first-time mom, not knowing exactly what to do and what method would work. And honestly, I felt a lot more comfortable having someone to guide me. I've always been that type of person that likes a little bit of guidance, and I feel a lot more comfortable with that. So that's what we did. We found our sleep consultant on a Facebook mom group in my community that we're from, and basically what she did was really helped us for the first week of sleep training. It is only supposed to take up to a week of sleep training. If you need more help, the consultant is there to guide you and help you longer than that. But for us, yeah, it typically takes a child about a week to sleep train, and that's why they only offer their services for a week. If you have any questions about hiring a sleep consultant, feel free to ask me, email me, or message me below, comment, and I'll answer any questions you have. Okay, let's get started with the 10 mistakes parents make when sleep training. The first one, starting bedtime routine too late. So if your baby is tired and they're overtired, they're gonna fight you a lot more, and it's gonna be a lot harder to put them down at night. So yeah, they'll be overtired, overstimulated, which will then make it harder to put them down. Second mistake is keeping infant awake after coming back from work to spend time with her. So, you know, totally understandable when a parent works late, they want to see their child. But if you're trying to sleep train, part of sleep training is to have a nighttime routine. Now, it doesn't have to be rigid, that's not what you're trying to do here, but you are trying to set up at least a flexible routine. Now, if your child normally goes to sleep around 7 o'clock at night after sleep training, and they're trained, they're ready to go to sleep, now they know the cues, they know the time they go to sleep, and they're a lot more ready to sleep at 7 o'clock at night. And then because the parent gets home late, you're not putting them down till 9 or 10. That's gonna be huge issue when sleep training, because then they're gonna go back to old habits, and then you're gonna find that putting them down on their own when they're drowsy but awake is gonna be a lot harder, and possibly going back to old habits that you were trying to break in the first place. The third mistake that a lot of parents make is having negative sleep associations. So negative sleep associations that won't normally be there when they go to sleep. So for example, having your baby fall asleep on the breast or rocking them to sleep. Those are all things that when sleep training that won't work, because if they don't have those type of things to fall asleep, they're not gonna fall asleep. So for example, for us, I would breastfeed him at the beginning, and then I wouldn't let him fall asleep on my breast though. I would feed him, and then I would take him off of it and let him fall asleep on his own. Also, another thing, rocking my son, we wouldn't rock him anymore because again, that's kind of how he would fall asleep before. So when sleep training started, we broke those habits because I wanted him to fall asleep on his own. Okay, so the fourth mistake that parents often make is inconsistency of naps or bedtime schedule routine. What is very important in sleep training is routine and cues. So while sleep training, if you are putting them down at a certain time, you're shutting down the curtains, you're turning on the white noise machine, you're giving them a lovey, those are things that are gonna, for the most part, have to be there for the rest of their naps, the rest of their bedtime. So if you don't have those things around, then yeah, it's gonna be a lot harder. Or if you put them down consistently for a week or two at a certain time, and then after that, you just put them down whenever, the chances of them being overstimulated, overtired, those are all things that are gonna backfire on you. Just remember, when we say routine, we mean flexible routine. Flexible routines are meant to have flexibility. They're not meant to be rigid, but at the same time, routine means that there's consistency in that day after day, the baby knows what's to be expected next, and you do as well. And now if you don't follow this, then sleep training is really not going to be for you, and that's totally okay. But yeah. So the fifth mistake that parents make when sleep training is rushing to the nursery too soon when baby cries. Maybe it's baby's last cry before falling asleep. This is so true, guys. That's the number one reason parents can't sleep train their child, is because they can't bear the baby cry. Again, remember, when sleep training, you're not letting your child scream bloody murder with the Ferber method. They do cry sometimes bloody murder, but it's like literally for a few minutes, and you go in, you console them. It gets better with time, with the days, or even if they're fully asleep. Sometimes my son will wake up and cry for like 5 minutes, and it's just random. So normally when he does it, I don't go in unless it's like he's sick or like something really sounds wrong. But going in too quick, like a lot of babies do that, and a lot of times when they do cry, it's like they're about to fall asleep, and then if you come in, they're not going to. So do not go into the room too quick when you hear your baby cry, and definitely listen to the type of cry. Number 6 mistakes that parents often make is feeding baby at night to soothe him or her, even though she doesn't need to be fed. So depending on your baby's age, I will say that after 4 months, your child no longer needs to be, for the most part, don't quote me on this, but for the most part, most babies development-wise, they don't need to be fed at night anymore after 4 months. Again, if you have a preemie or something, that varies and it changes, so check with your doctor. But for the most part, 4 months and older, they no longer have to be fed at night. So try not to feed them at night to soothe them or to console them, just because that's a negative sleep association that if not there, they're not going to be able to fall asleep on their own. Mistake number 7, the baby is being distracted during the day feedings and compensating at night. So if you have a baby that's breastfeeding, you're going to notice that the older they get, the more they get distracted by lights, by noise, by people. So when they're super distracted during the day feedings, what they're gonna do is that at night they're gonna be hungrier, so they compensate at night. So what you should do if you're breastfeeding, try to breastfeed baby as much as possible where they're not distracted, maybe in their room or maybe away, maybe facing a wall or whatever it may be, because they will compensate at night. Okay, the 8th mistake, this one is having naps in stroller, arms, carrier, car seat when baby is close to 3 months or older. Now, again, it is totally okay if your baby sleeps in the car seat, in the stroller, once in a while, but if your baby is constantly doing that, they're not getting the best sleep that they can get. So what I mean by that is that when they're sleeping in the crib, they're a lot more comfortable. They're gonna get a deeper sleep. That's the tip, that's the key, deeper sleep in their crib or in their bed. When they're in the car seat or the stroller, the likelihood of them waking up after the first sleep cycle is very, very high. You go through sleep cycles at night, or babies do. They're normally about 45 minutes. I wanna say it was, yeah, I think it's about 45 minutes. So before they go into a deep sleep. Look up sleep cycles. Babies go through them and they have to learn how to fall asleep from one sleep cycle to the next. Normally if your baby's in a deep sleep and you hear them crying and they can't fall back asleep, it's because they haven't been able to put themselves asleep from the first sleep cycle to the next. The 9th mistake that parents make when sleep training is that they do not detect soon enough the signs of sleepiness. So for example, if your baby is rubbing their eyes or like scratching their face or rubbing their hair, those are all signs of sleepiness. So if your baby is giving you the signs and you don't see them, that is a huge mistake, just because by the time that you do try to put them down, the chances are very high of them being overtired or overstimulated. When a baby's overtired, as tired as they are, they're gonna fight you on it and it's not gonna be smooth. So try to pay attention to those cues, and you know your baby, so you'll know when they're tired. Okay, so the 10th mistake, guys, and this is really important, not being emotionally ready to make changes and not patient enough when changes are made. Guys, sleep training is the best thing ever, but at the same time it could be really hard, especially for mothers that are more, I feel, emotionally attached. I don't want to say emotionally attached, but we're a lot more sensitive, or at least I'm a lot more sensitive to my child than my fiance is. He doesn't mind if he cries, he's like, it doesn't faze him. So definitely, like, if you're not ready or you're not patient, it's definitely going to be hard. Understand that the changes that you're making are gonna benefit you and your child and your family so much, but it is hard at the beginning. Yeah, those are the top 10 mistakes that parents make when sleep training. I wish you guys the best of luck, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. Thank you guys, bye. And I want you guys to know, I got ready all for this video, because look below. Whew. These are my pajamas. I literally had no makeup all day, but I did it just for the YouTube. Bye, you with that ass.